All right, let's get right into it. Now, this isn't just another talk about positive thinking. No, this is much deeper. We're doing a high-level cognitive realignment. We're going to audit the very source code that creates your reality. You see, most of us don't even realize that the words we use every single day are building an architecture around us, one that can actually drain our internal power. Today, we're going to change that. And that right there is the core idea. Your words, they are not passive. They don't just describe your world, they are active commands. Think about it. They're the software that programs your nervous system, your career, your finances, literally your entire life. You know, most of us are running on what you could call legacy software. And it's filled with these bugs I call frequency parasites. These are those common everyday words and phrases we use without a second thought. But under the surface, they are programming us for stress, for limitation, for scarcity. We're going to find them, and we're going to replace them. So let's start where a lot of us spend our time, our professional lives. Key number 1 is all about professional authority. Every single word you speak, at work, in an email, in a meeting, it's either building a bridge to more influence, or it's creating a barrier to your own success. So let me ask you a direct question, and I want you to really think about this. Is your language actively leaking your power? In meetings, in emails, even in just those casual conversations by the coffee machine. Let's look at a surprisingly common example. Have a nice weekend. I mean, we all say it, right? It sounds harmless. But phonetically, what does your brain actually hear? It hears weekend. You are literally unconsciously programming your body and your mind to expect a collapse of strength. It's a subtle form of success sabotage that keeps so many of us in that cycle of burnout and recovery. So, here's the reframe. This is the upgrade. Instead, try something like enjoy your family time, or even enjoy your governance days. See what's happening? You're not just swapping words, you're shifting the entire frequency, from a crash to a rhythm. You are authorizing constant strength, not scheduling in weakness. And look at some of these other linguistic traps and their high conductive assets. Instead of saying, I'm just checking in, which kind of sounds like you're bothering someone, you say, I'm following up on our timeline. Boom, authority. Instead of asking, does that make sense, which just screams insecurity, you state, I look forward to your thoughts. You see, every single one of these shifts rewires your neural pathways for mastery. All right, now let's apply this same logic to our finances with key number 2, wealth frequency. This is all about auditing the words we use around money. Words that can either act like a crisis magnet, pulling problems towards you, or act as a powerful tool for expansion. So here's another moment for a personal audit. Is your financial vocabulary, maybe without you even knowing it, programming scarcity into your life? I mean, really think about the phrases you grew up hearing about money. Oh, this is a classic one. Saving for a rainy day. It sounds so responsible, doesn't it? But you have to remember, your brain is a literal machine. When you give your money the instruction to be saved for a rainy day, you are programming your reality to manifest a crisis, a storm, so that you have a reason to spend that money. You're basically creating a crisis magnet. But the reset is so powerful. Instead, start storing for opportunity. Feel that shift? You're moving the frequency away from a fear of a storm and toward an expectation of a build. This one change calms your nervous system right down, moving you out of that constant survival mode and into the mindset of a strategic investor. Here are a few more powerful examples. Saying something costs an arm and a leg literally programs a feeling of loss, of being dismembered. But saying it's a high-value investment programs asset acquisition. Hard-earned money implies that it has to be a struggle. What about sovereignly acquired resources? That asserts your authority and a sense of ease. Okay, now we go to the deepest level. We're going right to the operating system itself. Key 3 is your internal BIOS. This is all about auditing that private, silent conversation that runs in your mind 24/7. This is the basic input/output system that governs everything else. And I can't stress this enough. This is absolutely critical. If your spoken words are the user interface, then your self-talk is the core programming. This is the secret tier where the real work gets done. For a lot of us, it's a wild, uncontrolled part of our mind, but we are about to bring it under our own conscious governance. So, what is your internal source code saying about you? Does it build you up? Or does it consistently run these old programs of fatigue, of doubt, of limitation? Let's look at how we can flash the BIOS with a brand new frequency. Just look at this. Instead of locking your very identity into a state like I am tired, you become the observer. I perceive a need for recharge. Instead of the enslavement code of I have to do this, you reclaim your agency with I choose to do this. You see the difference? This isn't self-criticism anymore. This is a system audit. You're moving from being the victim of your own thoughts to being the architect of your own agenda. So, all of this brings us to the final stage, becoming the architect. This is about taking all of these keys and achieving what we can call linguistic sovereignty. It's about finally moving from being a passenger, just controlled by your vocabulary, to becoming the architect of your own reality. And the objective here is crystal clear. The whole goal is to shift your entire operating system from survival mode to executive governance. In other words, you stop reacting and you start creating. It's about using language as a precise tool of command. And here's a simple, incredibly powerful technique you can use to do this, starting today. First, you catch the glitch. You notice that parasite word or thought as it comes up. Second, you reframe the code, consciously replacing it with a more empowering asset phrase. And third, you anchor the new command, maybe by repeating it internally a few times to really lock in that new frequency. It's that simple. Catch, reframe, anchor. So here's the bottom line. Awareness is the key that unlocks the door. And you now have the keys. You can see the code. The only question left is, now that you're aware, what will you choose to build?